Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the wildest, most talked about relationships in modern history, and that's the connection between former President Bill Clinton and the infamous Jeffrey Epstein. Buckle up because this is a roller coaster of flights, islands, charities, and yes, that bizarre painting of Bill in that blue dress. But let's hear from Bill Clinton. This is the only time on record that he's ever been asked straight up about the whole Epstein files. Have a listen here.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah. So that was Jeffrey Epstein. That was the only question that he ever had with the whole Jeffrey, with all the journalists in the world. That was the only time he got asked straight up if he had anything to do with this. So let's get back to the whole connections between the whole Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. So this story has just been very perpetuated, but no one's ever really gone into depth. Bill Clinton seemed to have been skating by unscathed for such a very long time. What's really funny is because the story is really full of everything. You know, a lot of mysteries, like was Bill Clinton actually on the Lolita Express and how many times? And did he ever set foot in St. James Island? And why is that creepy painting in Jeffrey Epstein's office? And I just thought that photo was hilarious. I think he's the original Big Beautiful Bill. Yeah. Do you imagine if that was Trump picture, if Trump's picture was in Epstein's office, how history would have changed for sure. Like I said, Bill Clinton's been skating by unscathed for such a long time. So here we go, deep diving into like where this all began. So when did Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein actually meet? Well, they say that when they originally crossed paths was way back in the White House between 93 and 95. But the original suggestion is that it started back in 2001. But when you go back into the early 90s, you can see that Epstein visited the White House at least 17 times between 1993 and 95, and often tied to charity events like a donor reception for the White House Historical Association. So you have Bill and Hillary, they're hosting a fancy party, and then there comes Epstein schmoozing with aides and dropping tens of thousands of dollars every time he's there. Is that a coincidence? Maybe, but it's hard to ignore those early ties. And every time that he was there with Ghislaine Maxwell, every single time he was there. So this really amped up after his presidency in 2002, when Clinton was out of the office, and he was just running the Clinton Foundation at that time. And he was looking for big donors and private jets to fuel his global philanthropy and all kinds of his missions. And this is where they say that Jeffrey Epstein, their relationship really started. And nobody knew who he was. He was this mysterious financier with a plane and a penchant for powerful friends. And Clinton's team has said their bond was all about strictly politics and economics. But some allege it started way earlier, back when Epstein was rubbing elbows within the White House staff. Can you imagine just Jeffrey Epstein, fresh off his Bear Stearns days, thinking like, hey, he could rub elbows with the Clintons of the world? And whether it was calculated or not, or just like a very chance encounter, their paths definitely did converge by the early 2000s. Now let's think about what if Epstein had visited the White House 17 times when Trump was in office and was donating to charities, and if Epstein was invited to his kids' weddings. Here, Ghislaine is at Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and again, I think if Epstein or Ghislaine was at Trump Jr.'s wedding, I think people would be talking about it, but no one seems to be talking about the Clinton ties at all. So, how many times did he visit the islands or on his plane? So, Jeffrey Epstein had a private Boeing 727, and he nicknamed it the Lolita Express. And this is where the whole story starts to clash and the truth gets slippery. Clinton's official statement from 2019 claims he took just 4 trips between 2002 and 2003, one to Europe and one to Asia, and 2 to Africa. and all tied to Clinton Foundation work with staff and Secret Service in tow. Sounds all tidy, right? But flight logs tell a different tale. Gawker 2015 leaks suggest at least a dozen flights, while Fox News upped the ante in 2016, reporting 26 trips between 2001 and 2003. So that's a big, huge jump. So what do the logs show? And they had stopped in many exotic spots like Hong Kong, Singapore, Russia, and Morocco, often with celebrities like Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker tagging along. For those Africa AIDS missions, even more intriguing. Some say Clinton ditched his Secret Service detail for at least five of those trips. Why? No one knows. Maybe he just wanted a low profile. Maybe there's more to the story. But the pilot, Larry Wazowski, testified in 2021 that logging passengers wasn't a priority, so those numbers could be underreported, or greatly exaggerated. So now the big question is, did Bill ever visit Little St. James Epstein Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands? And it was dubbed Pedo Island by some. Clinton insists he never set foot there, and flight logs don't show direct trips to those islands at all. And in 2015 lawsuit that showed Clinton on the island in 2002, though he didn't excuse him of any wrongdoing. And this was from Doug Band, and he was a former Clinton aide who also hinted in a 2003 visit in a 2020 Vanity Fair article. So that is Bill Clinton getting on his Lolita Express. And there he is with Ghislaine Maxwell. And apparently he was closer to Ghislaine than he was Jeffrey Epstein. And then this apparently was taken at the airport. So in the allegations from Victoria Roberts Jeffrey, she was saying that Bill Clinton was there. She saw him sitting in the living room porch, and that was his favorite spot. No other guests got to go there. And then she couldn't believe that Bill Clinton was there. So there's one count. But there's also that you could not fly in and out of that island. You would have had to fly to St. Martin's. And then Ghislaine had a helicopter license, and she was taking people from St. Martin's and the other islands over. So there would be no flight logs going in and out of Epstein Island. And this is his, one of the aides that was very close with him. And his name is Doug Band. And he wrote in this article in Vanity Fair that Bill Clinton had gone to Little St. James Island. So, but that's when they were on the route. So who knows what really happened there. But apparently there's no Secret Service records at all of him going anywhere near there. So did they get it wrong or not? The evidence is really unconclusive, but the rumors keep flying higher. And it sounds like more of a movie plot than hard proof. So it is a lot of speculation, and I don't think there's any, unless that's what's in the files, there's hard proof that Clinton was there. So now let's go to the charity side of this whole saga. The Clinton Foundation was a bigger player in the relationship, and Epstein's money and connections were already part of the mix. Clinton's team says those jet trips were all about foundation work, fighting HIV/AIDS and boosting economic development in Africa and promoting democratization. In 2002, Clinton even praised Epstein publicly, calling him a highly successful financier and committed philanthropist with insights and generosity. Sounds like a match made in heaven, right? But Epstein did donate to the cause, and apparently he did donate $25,000 to the Clinton Foundation in 2006. And according to some reports, and his network overlapped with foundation circles, Doug Band, and that was the guy before, was a key aide and was linked to Epstein. And some say Epstein helped conceive the whole Clinton Global Initiative. But here's the shady part. Epstein's philanthropy often raised a lot of red flags. His Koch Foundation, COUQ Foundation, and other ventures were murky, and critics argued his generosity was a cover-up for networking with the elite. So Epstein hosting a glitzy fundraiser, Clinton shaking hands, and big checks changing hands, all while Epstein's darker activities simmered beneath the surface. Did his foundation know? There's no evidence that seemed complicit, The associations look dicey in hindsight. Some ex-posts even speculate that the Clinton Foundation funded Epstein Island. Well, those claims have zero proof. Charities are supposed to help, not harm. But this story blinds, the lines get blurrier and blurrier. So, was that really his take on philanthropic partnerships? I don't know. So then we move on to the blue dress. And that is the pièce de résistance, a painting of Bill in a blue dress, hanging in Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan office from 2012 to 19. This is where things get downright bizarre. So the artwork reportedly was done by artist Patrina Ryan Clyde, depicts Clinton lounging on a chair in a blue dress, reminiscent of Monica Lewinsky's infamous outfit from the 1990 scandal. Why? No one really knows, but it sparks endless speculation. Some say it was Epstein's twisted sense of humor, a jab at Clinton's past. I think it was a power play. I really do. I think that was a power play to say, I got you. I think he's gone by the coonies, and that's what that picture says. So, and others say it was a trophy, like their alleged closeness, that they were that close. The painting was spotted in Epstein's $88 million townhouse alongside photos of other big names like Woody Allen and Mohammed bin Salman. And walking into that office and getting those creepy vibes and seeing those pictures, and also what was in his office was the one of Bush there with his little airplanes taking down his Jenga towers. That was also by the same artist. That was also in his house. So Clinton's never commented on it, and no one's ever even confirmed that he's even seen it. I'm sure he's seen it now. There has been speculation Epstein commissioned it to blackmail Clinton, hinting at secrets from those jet trips. There's no evidence of that, and the lady that painted them, she didn't even know that he owned them until this all came out. So I don't think that's true. There has never really been hard evidence of blackmail, but the DOJ just came out saying that there's no client list also. So who knows? So who knows why those paintings are there? I think it's proof of a much deeper bond, and it's very inconclusive. I don't know if it was a prank, but I really do think that is him reminding Clinton that he has them by the cojones and watch what you're doing because I got crap on you. That's what I think it means. So there you have it. That's just a basic. The web gets very, very deep and convoluted, but that's just a basic tanglement of how Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein's were, from the White House visits in the 90s to disputed flight counts and that wild blue dress painting. The story's a mix of, facts, rumor, and a little bit of mystery. We've covered the start of the relationship, the jet flights, that's between 4 and 26 flights, really depending on who you ask. But like I said, when I really looked at it, it looked like there might have been 4 flights, but those 4 flights had stops, and they stopped within those flights. So I think that's why it got up there to 26, but I think it was the same trip. But that's what I got out of it. So, and then there's the island debate. I think he was there. I don't think those girls would lie about something like that. But like I said, everybody's talking about the flight logs going. There is no flight logs to that island. They had to get there by helicopter, and that's why Ghislaine had her helicopter license. So, anyways, the truth is still out there. And it's still all waiting to be uncovered. Hopefully, they're getting closer and closer. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. How involved do you think Clinton was with Epstein? Is there more to uncover? Do you think he's going to get immunity? He did get subpoenaed the other day on his wife, so we'll see. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think he's so deeply protected. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. And please like, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you soon.